Hello and welcome to today's episode in which I fulfill a viewer request of veganizing that Mexican classic, enchiladas. When I published the vegan involtini video a couple of months ago, I had a comment from Patrick Mucklong3 asking if I'd ever done vegan enchiladas. I hadn't, so I said leave it with me and I'll see what I can do for you. I've never made them myself, so I've had a quick look online and found a recipe on gimmesomeoven.com. I'll link to that in the description for you. I'm going to base mine loosely on theirs, more for the ratios and that kind of thing. I've done most of the prep already because it is boiling at the moment. I wanted to get a lot of the work done without having the cameras on because they will just shut off in the middle of something important, as I have discovered in years past. Enchiladas, I guess, are a little bit like a Mexican version of cannelloni, maybe. Basically, you take some flour tortillas and then fill them, roll them up, put them in a baking tray, and then smother over some sauce and then bake it. I decided to do mine in the air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can do them in the oven, not a problem. So we're going to make the sauce first because that needs to simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. So once I've got it to the simmering point, then I can start making the filling. And then from there, it should be pretty quick. I think reading the recipe, it's a fairly easy thing to throw together, so potentially a really good one for midweek cooking after work. The sauce takes some spices and herbs, mixes it in with a roux, which is a combination of flour and oil, and then you pour in chicken stock. So I'm gonna put the spice blend together first, then do the roux in the pan, and then once that's going, then I'll add the stock because things have to be stirred vigorously throughout, otherwise you're going to get big lumps. Toasted off some cumin seeds, so I just toasted them off in a dry pan. And I crush this down. Toasting the cumin just adds a really nice dimension to the flavour. The recipe just says ground cumin, but I decided to toast it. Yeah, I'm going to put all of it in, so that's probably 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin. Then I need 1/4 cup of chili powder. This one is quite old, which is why it's as dark as it is, but it still tastes fine. 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano for the USians. Do you know what? I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon. This is my own addition. I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of chipotle flakes. Chipotle is smoked jalapenos, so they've got a really nice smoky flavour to them. So I'm just going to give this a quick whisk together just to blend everything. And if you try this recipe and you like it, you could definitely make up a big jar of the mix, and then you've got loads to hand whenever you need it, to cut down on prep time. I need 2 cups of stock. I'm going to use the Masol chicken flavour stock powder, like a fluffy powder. In my pan, I've got a tablespoon of sunflower oil and 1 of extra virgin olive oil. I'd meant to use all olive oil and forgot. This is 2 tablespoons of plain flour, all-purpose flour. So I'm going to add that in. Cook this for a minute or so on a medium heat. And if you head to the pinned comment after you've watched the video, I'll see if I can find an article about why you'd use a roux. Now I'm going to add in the spices. I'm going to turn this down. Grab my stock. I'm going to add this in gradually as I'm whisking. Here we are after adding all of the stock. So now it needs to simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. It will slightly thicken, and then I'm going to come back every couple of minutes, give it a little stir just so nothing gets caked on the bottom. Forgot to add the tomato puree, didn't I? I'm going to add like 4 tablespoons or so of the tomato puree. I've just moved everything, so just pretend that you've seen me do it. I didn't add any salt into the sauce because the chili powder's got a bit of salt in it, and that stock, the chicken flavour stock, has got some salt in it as well. Initially I thought about using some like vegan chicken pieces and then decided not to. Then thought about doing the grated tofu technique like I've done for the vegan lasagna, the vegan shepherd's pie, the soft tacos. But then I really don't want that amount of heat in the kitchen. I've decided to just keep it beany and have like 3 different types of beans. I've got a can of cannellini beans, a can of kidney beans, and a can of black beans. In this bowl, I've got a large red onion and 2 large carrots. I did those quite a small dice. And then in this bowl, I've got a red bell pepper and then a jar of green chilies. Those are the ones I used. It's just sliced pickled jalapenos. This is 4 cloves of garlic. It was one of these jumbo cloves. The timer for the sauce is done, so I'll take it over to the pan and we can finish that off. So it's much thicker. Turn the heat off under the pan, but I'll leave the pan on the hot burner. I'm going to check the flavour, see if there's anything else I want in there. I'm going to add some lime juice in. So I'll mix that in, try it again. Yeah, spot on. And then in the pan I've got maybe 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil. So I'm going to add in the onions and carrots. If I'd had celery, I would have put that in, but I don't. I'm gonna cover that back up. Just then it'll trap steam inside and cook a bit faster. While I'm waiting for the veggies to cook, I might as well explain this to camera. The issue with doing this in the air fryer is it should be baked with cheese on the top. Because of the way an air fryer works, the fan is very powerful, so it has a tendency to, when I've done cheese on toast in there, it just whips the cheese up and then you've got a mess for ages. So I might bake them for the majority of the time without cheese on. Then put cheese on, squirt a bit of water on there, because water helps melting vegan cheese. And then, yeah, maybe pack the cheese on, like press it down with my hands, because then the heat from the enchiladas will start the melt underneath, and maybe adhere it a little bit, and then do another 5 to 10 minutes just to get the rest of it melted. So that was maybe 3 minutes, something like that, and everything is soft now. Now I'll add in the bell pepper and jalapeno. So I'll put the lid back on for a couple of minutes. My main camera is overheating, it's just shut itself off, so I'm going to do the majority of the rest of it just on the close. Hopefully that one's going to be okay. And then once everything's cooled down a bit, we'll pick things up for the assembly. So I've finished off the filling and I've let the cameras cool down a bit. So I've made some notes so I can do like a voiceover with the close-up. I added the bell pepper and jalapeno, let that cook down for like 3-4 minutes. Then added the garlic, put the lid on, sweated that down for another couple minutes. I'd had the heat on 4, my stove goes up to 9. Then I turned it up to 6, took the lid off, and then did another 3 minutes or so just to get some colour on there. At that point I added in the beans. With the beans I drained them but I didn't rinse them. I mean, you can rinse them if you want, I don't. Cooked everything off for a couple of minutes just to get everything well combined, and then added in a little squirt of lime juice just to brighten the flavour up a little bit. I've lined my air fryer basket with foil. I squirted on some oil, rubbed that in with a paper towel, because if I try and do this directly in the basket, because I'm going to pour some sauce over the top, it's going to be a nightmare, and this will make it easier to take out. Now it's time for assembly. I'm making mine with flour tortillas, and before anyone starts getting spicy in the comments, I know enchiladas should be made with corn tortilla. I live in the UK, corn tortilla are not something to be found in a supermarket. It would be a special purchase. It's not authentic. Fine, I accept that. I've made corn tortilla from scratch, I've made pupusa from scratch using masa harina. So, you know, I'm doing what I can, okay? I stumbled on a bit of a war in a YouTube video comment. Someone was saying using corn tortilla, because using a wet sauce, corn tortilla become a bit waterproof, whereas flour tortilla are gonna be a bit soggier. So save your little comments for somewhere else if you don't like the way I do things on your pop. I bought a 150 gram bag of Cathedral City mature cheddar style, 150 grams, and then I grated in a block of the extra mature, like half a block I should say, so it's probably 300 grams of grated cheese. I kind of mixed everything together and dumped it all back in the bag. I'm going to switch off the main camera. So there is the sauce. It is very thick. I'm just going to put a little bit of sauce in there. You know, I just want a tiny bit of extra flavour, why not? So I'm going to spoon some sauce over, have a spoonful of the filling and put that kind of in a line. Some cheese on, so I'm going to roll them like that, and then I'll tuck this back here. I'm going to get some down the sides to start with, and then I'll go over the top, and I've got maybe enough mixture for another 3. I just want to reserve enough for that. There we go, so that's ready to go in the air fryer. I'm going to put these in the air fryer at 160, which is 320, 325, something like that. And then I'll do 12 minutes, pull them out, sprinkle the cheese on, pack it down, squirt on a bit of water and put them in for the remaining 4. And then we'll pick everything up and we'll do some tasting. The air fryer enchiladas are all done, looking pretty good. So I've taken the parcel out of the basket. The ones on the end, nice and crisp. Yeah, that looks pretty tasty to me. I guess you could be far more liberal with the sauce if you wanted it was really wet and gooey. I'm gonna dive in, have a go. It's sticky and delicious. The cheese that I put inside helps kind of meld everything together and provides a bit of, it kind of offsets the intensity of the chili. It'd be good with some plain vegan yogurt or some cream cheese or something. That's very, very tasty. You could use one kind of singular type of bean if you wanted, but I like the combination of the three because they've all got slightly different textures and obviously different flavours. Despite those comments that I saw, they're not soggy. Perhaps if I'd have drowned them in the sauce, it would have been wetter. But yeah, that's really nice. And the ends are very crisp. Messy one though. In terms of reheating, microwave is going to be the fastest, but it might make the tortilla quite chewy. I'll try it in the microwave tomorrow and I'll make some notes in the pinned comment for you. I ran out of cheese. I got a bit liberal with the amount of cheese inside. Could have done with a bit more on top. I took a couple of quick phone pictures as I was doing the leftovers. So I got 3 more enchiladas. So I did those in a foil packet and then put the sauce on. I haven't put the cheese to go on top. I'll do that when I come to cook them. I think 110, 120 for, yeah, half an hour, 40 minutes, and I'll stick a temperature probe in. I can always crank the heat up once the middle has started defrosting. I don't know if that's how they're supposed to be or if they should be wetter. I don't know, but they're very tasty as is. I guess if you wanted more of the sauce on the sides, perhaps brush sauce down each side before you put the next one in, and that might help you get a bit more. But yeah, I'm glad I put the bit at the bottom as well, because it just adds a touch of flavour underneath. Yeah, so it's kind of soaked into the tortilla there. So thanks to Patrick Mucklung3 for the suggestion of doing vegan enchiladas. It was a very, very tasty and welcome suggestion. I'm also going to say hello and thank you to my community over on Patreon. Getting their monthly financial support each month is hugely beneficial. Keeps the channel alive and running. If you'd like to join up, I will leave the link down to my Patreon down in the description for you. If you've got any requests or suggestions that you'd like me to have a go at, feel free to leave a little comment down below for me. Happy to try things. And if you'd like further plant-based recipes, like this video and subscribe to the channel, and then tap the bell icon. You'll get an alert as soon as I publish a new one. While you're waiting for the next one, have a look at this.